Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Ensoniq Mirage, very classic and mysterious beast of a sampler. I just got my hands on this about 3 weeks ago, and for the first week and a half, I was just sort of determining whether or not it sounded good, whether or not it felt good to use and to operate, and then trying to read up as much as humanly possible. Of course, downloading the parameter reference menu and watching YouTube videos, right? Now, most of the videos on YouTube regarding the Mirage kind of focus in on the demo sounds, you know. And then a lot of the other half of the videos will be how to sample in, but you know, how to sample in a tone to play up and down the keyboard, right? That's all fine and dandy, but I kind of wanted a hip-hop oriented video. The bullet points. If you've made it this far and you don't know the bullet points of the Mirage, what are you doing? But okay, the bullet points of the Mirage, right? 8-bit digital sampler, came out in 1984. That's just the tip of the iceberg, because you get sample rates. You get 60 sample rates that you can sample in at. You have an input filter to help you deal with some of the aliasing. You have an analog output filter and analog envelope generators, right? That's for the sample and the amplitude. So if you think about it, and the reason why so many of the synth nerds kind of gravitate towards this particular sampler is because it has all the cool parts of a synthesizer, right? It has the analog envelopes and filters, but you get a digital sampler or a digital oscillator if you want to treat it that way, right? But you can also, like I said, sample in drum breaks and sample in soul loops, right? So let's do that. Those are the main bullet points. That's why you want the Mirage. There's a lot of reasons why you don't want the Mirage. 6-second sampling time. You get 2 halves, right? Each half can have 6 seconds of sampling time. Adds up to about 13 seconds if you use both. But you can't have one long 13-second sample. You have to have 2 6-second samples. Cool. That's the first drawback. The other drawback is this and this. It can drive you crazy trying to figure out, like, this is not the sampler that you want to sample up, you want to chop up soul samples on, right? You don't want to grab a sample from a record and then chop it into 8 slices. You just really can't do that in this sampler. You can, it's possible, but you have to punch in equations here in order to get it to work. Serious equations. Each one of these keys has its own sample rate that corresponds to it. And then in your sample editor or whatever, you have to pitch things down. It's a nightmare. It will drive you crazy. Don't do it. The best way to approach this sampler is to keep it simple, right? And it's great for recording loops, maybe even a couple of loops. It's great for recording one-shot drum samples, right? Or a loop of a drum break, right? So if you have a loop, a couple of loops on each half, you can totally sync those together, but you have to find the right pitch. That's right. When you sample into this, you can't just pick a sample rate, sample in, then pick a note you want to play it on. It will play back at whatever it feels like, and you have to find it. And we're going to run into that very, very quickly. So those are the drawbacks. But let me tell you, man, the sound, the freaking sound of this thing, it's hard for me to not use it on everything. But you can't, because it's such a unique and bold and big sound that if you use it for more than 3 elements in a track, it's over. It's just too much. There's too much Mirage in the mix, right? So that's another thing to note about this. We're going to create a classic or recreate a classic hip hop song. There's some, you know, information floating around on the internet about what samplers were used in Public Enemy's It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. They claim that their main workhorse was the SP1200 by Emu, but they also used the Mirage in a lot of the production. Most notably Rebel Without a Pause, that JB's grunt sample is all Mirage, and you can hear that in the squealing sax part, where it just kind of smears and degrades that sound. It's a very unique thing. But I also think, and I'll point out some reasons why, I think that Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos also utilizes the Mirage. And I'm just going by sound and sort of the timeline of things when things were released, right? So, the sound of the Mirage, we're gonna hear that. So yeah, if you don't know, the original sample comes from this record. All right. So as you listen to this is the original sample. Right here, second pass. Right? So if you listen to that, you can hear some hi-hats in the mix. There's a lot of air in this song, which is kind of, I mean, it's a beautiful sounding record. But what we're going to do here is we're going to record this loop, and I've chopped it down to this. So how do you go about this, recording this loop, all right? How do you sample into the Mirage? How do you sample a loop into the Mirage? I'm going to go with the upper first, right? So there's some things that you need to know about the Mirage. First things first, you can have multi-samples if you want to record a one-shot drums, or even chop up some samples and then send those chops into here. You can do that. That's parameter 77. We're just going to record this loop, okay, on this half. And there's two halves, and you have to determine what the halves are. You do that by going to the program button, lower one, no. We're going to go upper one, yes, enter. Okay, so now we're working with the upper portion of this synth here, right? But most of your samples are going to live in this range here, where my hands are. And I think if yeah, exactly, where my hands are. So you're going to live in this range here, a lot of your stuff. So let's see here. The next thing you're going to want to do is determine what sample you're on, right? And so we're going to hit the value here. So yeah, we're on sample 1. We're ready to record on sample 1. The next thing you're going to want to do is, there's a threshold, a sample threshold, and this is kind of the, it's not going to sample until the sound level reaches a certain point, and then it'll start sampling. That's the basic threshold on a sampler. Cool. So yeah, the value, I'm going to bring this down to 1.8. Cool. 75. Let's go to the mic and line level. By default, it's going to go mic level, which is kind of strange. So you have to turn this on. You have to turn the line level on. So now we're ready to receive some signal in here. And good way to check that is we're going to go sample upper, right? It's saying, hey, look, I'm ready for signal. That's nearly not loud enough. Oh, let's do this again. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that looks good, right? So now that's ready to receive signal, but we need to do one last thing, and this is the most important thing here, is we need to set a sample time, they call it, but it's a sample rate. So we need to set a sample rate, and then we need to put an input filter to sort of get rid of all the nasty high end that's going to occur, right? So let's do this. Let's go to 73, hit value, 3.4. That's going to give you about 2 seconds. Well, this is more than 2 seconds. So the higher you go up, the lower the sample rate will be. I kind of want to double this here. And let's go 6.8. Let's see if this will give us enough sample time, okay? Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is go to the input filter. 68, I usually find that if you go a little bit lower, like 60, right, then you should be good. If you go, basically what I just did there is set the sample filter about 8 digits lower than the sample rate that I had my sample rate digits at, right? There are charts and everything that you can look at, but like I said, don't make this difficult. You can, and it will give you a headache. Don't get any more difficult than this, all right? So now that we have our sample rate and our sample filter set up, we're gonna need to determine, this is another thing about the sampler, we need to determine what length it's going to sample at, right? And so there's these parameters right here. Loop start, wave sample start and wave sample end, okay? Now, you need to set this before you start sampling, because if I go into 61 and I hit value, okay, so this is the full length, right? But usually, sometimes you'll have it, and depends on what sample is loaded when on the disk when you load this up. But sometimes it'll be all the way down to 0, 0, right? And you don't want that. You see, and you can see the hexadecimals, it goes 0 through 9 and then A through F on everything. 5E, right? That's not a number that we know. But yeah, I'm going to set this to, well, it doesn't matter. We're just recording one loop. So I'm going to set this to FF. Yeah, let's do that. Let's set this to FF. And we'll go from there. Okay, 60. We're going to want to make sure that that's at 0. That is at 0. Okay, let's start sampling. Upper, ready for signal. We're going to hit enter and press our pad. See, and it didn't get it all the way. So now we need to go at a lower sample rate, and that's going to push this even lower, I think. Right? So we're going to need to go at a lower sample rate in order to make this sample fit. Okay? So we're going to go to 73, and we're going to want to bump this up to, let's say, 7.8. Cool. Let's go to 7.4, which is your input filter. And what did we go? 7.8. So we'll just go to 7. Okay? Cool. So now let's try this again. Close. Well, here, let's see if it recorded the whole thing. Oh, so close. So close. We need to go a little bit, a little bit. Okay, so we're going 8. Let's go 8.2. Now we're getting really lo-fi here, okay? We're getting near 10 kilohertz. So which means the maximum frequency that we can hear is going to be about 5 kilohertz, right? This is really making stuff lo-fi. And sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you really have to do that. Yeah, let's do that. Fine. It's at this point it's arbitrary because everything is so lo-fi. So we're going to go upper, sample, boom, 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 enter. Cool. There's a little click at the end. We won't hear that. For our purposes, we're just going to... So now you can, and now we're into the lower half, so we can't get to the original pitch, right? We can't get to that. but that's fine. We can get to that. There is, of course, a pitch parameter. So that's 67. Okay, that was an octave. We took it down. So now we're going to bring it up, okay? And see, this is what you're going to be doing. So yeah, this needs to come down a lot. So you're like, wow, that sounds really lo-fi, right? Like, wow, that's almost too lo-fi. I can't handle that. Well, the thing that a lot of people won't tell you in the tutorials is that you actually have to put the filter back up, right? And so that's not the input filter. There's an overall filter here, and that's parameter 71. 71. And parameters 70. And now let's really listen to this come alive. Cool. Let's actually adjust. Okay, sorry, I had to cut and come back here. So yeah, now we have our basic sample. We can make it louder. This should be the loud part. So the parameter for that is 69. So let's jump to that and let's just pump it up. I think it goes up to 6, right? So yeah, let's put it at 6. Yeah. Cool. So now let's start working on the bottom half, and the bottom half is going to consist of drum samples, right? Individual drum samples from a drum machine. Now, I think that they sampled the drum machine into the sampler because they wanted to combine sounds, right? This bass drum sounds cool. That bass drum sounds cool. How about put them together in an 8-bit sampler to sort of mix everything together? Based on the original, based on Black Steel and the Hour of Chaos, there's a cymbal hit in there. And I'm always annoyed by cymbal sounds in drum machines, right? So much so that I tend to remember what drum machine it is by the annoying cymbal sound. And this cymbal sound, that is from the cymbal sound that they used, that is from the Korg DD1 or DD5, and I think it's the DD1. That was the one with the sampler in it. But yeah, that's the open hi-hat. That's the closed hi-hat. Those are the bass drums. That's the snare. That's going to get pitched a little bit differently, but it's going to sound lovely in the in the Mirage, right? So yeah, Now we're going to work on the bottom half. So let's go to program, and we're going now to lower 1. Boom. So now we've already experienced what it's like to sample into the top half. Let's work on multi-sampling on the bottom half. And you can multi-sample in either half or both at the same time. It doesn't matter. But multi-sampling, this is fun, but it's also kind of annoying. What we did on the top here, going to parameters 60 and 61 and designating the wave sample start and end to sort of determine how much time we're going to have, we have to do that for multi-sampling. Except with multi-sampling, you don't get 0 to FF. Well, you do, but the way the Mirage treats multi-sampling is that all of the sounds are just one big sound, and they get divided into little chunks in the memory, okay? So this is how it can get annoying multi-sampling, because you have to determine the start and end points of each memory. You have to allocate for each part of the memory, right? You have to determine what is going to use what part of the memory, and it can expand or shrink however the sound is going to guide you. So yeah, let's sort of talk about that. So, well, the first thing we have to do is set the bottom half into multi-sampling mode. We do that with parameter 77. Value is off. Now it's on, and we're in multi-sampling mode. You get up to 8 sounds that you can sample in on each half, okay? So yeah, bottom half can have 8, top half can have 8. Cool, right? 16 sounds all together. Now we're gonna sample in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sounds. Kind of odd, but don't worry, we'll make it work. Some of these sounds are really short. Some of these are really long. Right? But that shouldn't be an issue so long as we remember where to set our sample start and ends, okay? Let's start working on a frequency, a sample rate that we want to sample in at. So let's go to parameter 73. We have it at a very low, kind of grungy rate. Okay, now I want to start with the longer samples first, and I really don't mind my cymbals being at a low sample rate. I actually like the way that a crash sounds when it's really degraded at a low sample rate. So let's see what we can fit in here, okay? Let's see what we can fit in here. So now let's go to boom. Let's go to parameter 61. That's at FF. That is way too long. Okay. So now let's go over here, and we're going to go down to, I think I want this. Let's see if I can fit this in, like 1.5 or something. Okay. So, right. So let's go 1.5. Okay, so 1.4, and the next one will start at 1.5. Remember this, it's ending at 1.4, okay? It's starting at 0. So now let's start to sample this sound here. All right, so let's go over here. Let's see what it sounds like. And we can't do that. Cool. Yeah, so let's record this in. Ugh. So this is right at the bottom of the keyboard. We don't want that. Let's go. And actually, it didn't record the whole thing. So let's resample this at a different rate, okay? Yeah, let's resample this at a different rate. Let's go even a little bit. Actually, you know what? No, let's keep that. Let's allocate more memory for it, okay? So I'll show you how that works. You don't have to change the sample rate. You just give it more memory. Because remember, our hi-hat sound is going to be really short. Our bass drum sound is going to be really short. And these, the open hat and the snare are going to be somewhere in the middle, right? So the cymbal is the longest portion of this. Let's give it more memory. So let's go 2.4. Oh, fuck it. Let's go all the way to, oh, wait. Let's go all the way to 2F. So the next sample will start at 3. So let's do this again, right? And we're going to go in here and hit enter. There it is. But remember, it's really low. So we have to drop the octave. Right? That's pretty cool. I'm raising up the filter again. You see? It's lo-fi, but is it lo-fi? You still get a lot of high-end frequencies here. Cool. I like that. All right. So remember, we ended this sample at 2F. So the next sample that we want to record in is going to be at 3. But first, we have to activate that sample, right? So we go to parameter 26, and now we call up sample number 2, right? Wave sample select 26. Now we're in 2. We don't have to press enter, but I normally do. I don't know why. Okay, so based on that sample rate, I kind of want to do the rest of the cymbals at this sample rate. Okay, so let's record in the open hat now. Right, much quicker. So we don't need that much sample time. Let's go to 61, and we're going from 3 to, let's go from 3 to 3.5. So it'll be 4.4, right? Actually, let's just go, yeah, from 3 to 4. So 4F, right? 4F. So the next sample we'll start on will be at 5. But let's make sure to not sample over the material that we already sampled, right? So we have to start at 3, okay? Do we have to start at 3? Damn it, now I forgot. Okay, let's go back down to 1, and let's go to 61, 2F. Yeah, we have to start at 3. 26, okay, let's go to 2. So, yeah, from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3, right? We don't need that much time in this one. So starting at 3, 60, starting at 3, we should have enough sample time. So let's record this in now. So we're going to go sample lower, and okay, we're still hearing the first sample. That's because we didn't determine what's called the top key, okay? The top key is parameter 72. This first sample, wave sample 1, will play all the way from here to here, right? Unless we tell it to, yeah, unless we tell it to stop here. So check this out. Let's go to 26. Let's go back to sample 1. Now let's go to parameter 72. What the hell is that? There it is. So now here's our second sound, the sound that we just sampled in. Let's go back to that. You're going to be jumping around a lot here, okay? You have to pay attention to what sample you are on. If you don't, you're going to mess things up. You're going to record over stuff. So that sounds like it's a little low. Okay. And you know what? I think I recorded that in bad. Let's do this again. Yeah, you see, it's not nearly loud enough. There it is. Okay, here we go. Nope. Man, and sometimes recording one shots like this, I want to put a shape on this, right? I don't like the way it sounds, but right, so now I'm going into these parameters here, and I'm going into the envelope amplitude, right? So I'm in 52 now as the decay. So 51 is your peak. So let's take that all the way up. Let's go to 52 now as the decay. Let's go to 53, and the sustain I want all the way down, and I want the release. See, I kind of just like this. I like that sound. I don't know why. As you see, I'm jumping around in between parameters here. And this is just something after a couple of weeks you're going to get used to doing. It only took, like I said, it only took me about a couple of weeks to really get used to this flow. Okay. Cool. The next thing I want to record, oh yeah, so remember, let's go down to the top key. Oh wait, 72. Let's go down to the top key. Cool. Let's record wave sample number 3 now, okay? And remember, let's go back down to 2. Remember, we ended at 4F, so we're going to start this next sample at 5, okay? So let's start this next sample at 5. Let's go back to 26. Let's choose wave sample number 3. Let's go to 61 and just make sure okay, cool. All right, now let's go down to 60 and let's start at 5 and let's record the hats. Okay, so yeah, we're starting at 5. I want this, since it's going to be the shortest sample that we have. This is literally 5. We can go 5 to 6, right? So 5 to 5F is what we're going to be doing here. 5 to 5F. Okay, cool. Now, let's see what the levels are on this. Let's bring it up. Cool. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, so let's bring the all right, so now we have all of our sounds, right? Right? We have all of our sounds. Let's sequence these. Now, you can use the internal sequencer, but it's a very basic sequencer. I want to show you that you can use MIDI. This really responds well to MIDI. Yeah, so, and I even have this in Bluetooth MIDI, and I'm going to just sequence this from my phone, right? So, I mean, welcome to 2022 here. So what I'm going to do here is go to ZenBeats. I'm going to sort of enable, let's go to new song. All right, cool. Let's go into settings really quick here. Let's go into MIDI, MIDI output, right? And so let's look for MIDI. Okay. So yeah, this was once attached to my, MPC. So yeah, now it's found. Okay. So cool. Now we have that set up. So in this individual channel, we can, I don't even know if we have enough samples here to, but here, let's set this up to send MIDI. Oh boy, it's really, ZenBeats, sorry, I haven't used this phone in a while, and I haven't used ZenBeats on this phone in a while, so it's scanning for stuff. Let's go to advanced MIDI and output track. Cool. Yeah, let's do that, except we're gonna go MIDI output, and we're gonna go boom. Right, is that okay? Hold on, let me do this again. MPC 2000 is connected. Okay, so, oh yeah, MIDI output 1. Sorry, there you go. Now it is enabled. Now we can pair this and send stuff out. If we go MPC 2000, there you go. All right, that's why you name your Bluetooth MIDI devices. All right, so oh yeah, let's just turn down the audio here. We don't need it. Yeah, so we are sending MIDI, but it's the wrong it's the wrong stuff, right? So let's just keep adding drum sounds until it actually gets the right sounds that we need, at least for the lower half. Okay, well, let's just keep adding drum sounds. I'm just going to add 800 of them. I should probably save this as a setting, a saved instrument, so where I have like 61 of these drum sounds in here, and the sky's the limit when it comes to ZenBeat drums. You can have like a 300 drums if you really want. I don't know why you would want that, but why not? Okay, so cool. right? So let's just do that, and let's press play. All right, cool. So first, now we have to, now we're in sequencing world here. So let's go to the pattern, and it's going to be 2 bars. Is it going to be 2 bars, or is it going to be 4 bars? I think it might only be 2 bars, but let's go over here. Don't need that. Let's just erase that. Oh wait, here we go. Let's just pick this, and let's go over here and just trash it. Oh wait. And let's trash it. Sorry. God damn it. Let's trash it. There you go. All right. And so now what I want to do here is not that. I actually want to go over here, select that. Wow. Zenbeats is usually good at this. Oh, okay. There you go. There you go. Sure. Let's go. Nope, it's 4 bars. Oh wait, no, it is 2 bars. I just stupidly don't have a tempo set. So, 1. Yeah, let's try this. That actually kind of works. We'll finesse the tempo a little bit more when we So that's it. That's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys learned from this. Sorry I took way too long. Oh yeah, I mean, it's gonna be like a 50-minute tutorial. Hopefully I have enough memory on my phone to whip all this together. So that's the Ensoniq Mirage. Like I said, there's this this general consensus that it's a very lo-fi machine, and we just heard, I mean, it can rip. It has some really good high frequencies. The drums are freaking punchy. The samples sound dope. You know, perfectly kind of just degrades the sound. And I mean, it's lo-fi, but it's done just right. It's done just ever so perfectly. We didn't even get into the wacky filters or anything. So yeah, this is sort of the Mirage tutorial from the hip-hop diaspora. And hopefully, like I said, you learned something from this. If you want to purchase one of these, like I said, beware, you're going to be doing a lot of this menu jumping like you just saw me do for the last 50 minutes. But boy, was it a fun 50 minutes. And this is a classic track here. Yeah. All right. Enjoy. Peace.